Welcome, everybody. This is Brian Arian here today to talk to you about Medicare and Medicaid dual eligibility. Um, Taking the time to do this with Daphne, who is an experienced Medicare specialist that I'll introduce in a moment. But we want to take some time to do this because there's seems to be a lot of confusion with people that have the eligibility for Medicaid, and then what happens when they become Medicare eligible, or if they're already dual eligible for Medicare and Medicaid, what are some of the advantages that they are entitled to? So that's what we're going to cover today. So Daphne, I know you've been helping people since 2016 enroll in the best plan for their needs. So I thank you for taking a few minutes of your time to share some of your experience with this topic. So
No
welcome.
problem.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So
Thank you, Brian.
you're welcome. My pleasure. So let's get into it and eliminate some of the confusion, hopefully. Um, Here's some of the things that I hear from individuals is that they don't want to jeopardize their Medicaid. You know, they've gone through the disability approval process commonly, and then they find out that they're approved for disability, and they they have this option of Medicare, but they don't want to upset the apple cart. So that's one of the things that we are faced with. So can we talk that, speak to that for a minute, and then we'll get into some of the extra benefits that the dual eligibles are entitled to. So what can you share with people, Daphne, that will, set them at ease other than what's up on the screen right here about being dual eligible?
Well, the the clients that I deal with, they do have a point because the Medicaid plan is such a stringent plan that if their fundings or the assets that they have go above the whatever they qualify for in that program, they are immediately thrown out of the program. So they do have the right to be very skeptical. But what they have to realize is that Medicare Advantage plans basically can give them, um, it has to give them the same thing that the original plan gives them, right? And it gives them more, but it does not count towards their asset level or any type of funding that they may have.
Okay. So let's dial in on one topic here. Somebody goes through the disability approval process, qualifies for Medicaid because of their assets, and then they get approved for disability and they receive a lump sum of money, which could be 20, 30, I've seen amount up to $80,000. So when they receive that money, what does that do for them relative to their Medicaid qualification?
Well, I thought that most of the time that it would put them over the level that they needed and they would be thrown off of Medicaid. But now I'm finding out that it really depends on the state.
Okay.
Even though some people, yeah, even though some people get that lump sum, it depends on the state whether they will knock them out of Medicaid or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that person really has to know the rules and regulations of the state. I recently worked with a young lady and found out that even though she had a lump sum, her Medicaid stayed intact.
All right. Well, that's good to know. So it's a case by case, if you will, state by state situation. All right.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So let's move forward and talk about some of the benefits that dual eligibility has. And let's start with special needs plans. Now, as you explained to the crowd, I have some props that I brought for today. I have an actual special needs plan that is up on the screen here. This one is in Florida. This individual was so excited to get this, but let's go through an explanation for the group, and then we can hit some of the highlights and show a real life example on the screen here today.
Okay. So with the special needs plans, those are plans that are normally for a person that has chronic problems like diabetes, heart disease. Those are some of the main examples that can have kidney problems as well. So there are certain plans that are put together for people with different ailments, put it like that.
Okay.
Then, and then you just have the dual eligible ones, and that's the ones that a person has Medicaid and Medicare, and they're called Medi-Medis. And they also, yeah. And then there's one for institutionalized individuals. Those are plans that are put together for those people who are in institutions and that have to be taken care of in a special way.
All right. So let's go through these examples, Daphne. This one right here is what you would call a Medi-Medi. Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, and you need to be, this is in Florida, you need to be on Medicaid. So this is a plan for somebody that meets that criteria. What I like about this particular company and how it's laid out is it goes right through line item by line item, and it shows the difference. On the left, what they would pay versus what they have access to currently. So if you are listening out there and you want to really see the difference, this is called a summary of benefits, and every plan has one, and you can go through it with somebody here or on your own. For this individual, some of the key things were dentist. There was two visits a year for cleanings. That was important. Gym membership was another one that was important. And then what really excited this individual was expansion to a lot more doctors. There was I believe with this particular plan, there was 181 primary care doctors, Daphne, that the individual had access to. I don't know how many were in the Medicaid network, but it wasn't that many. I don't know if you know, like, commonly what the difference is.
Well, the thing, Brian, is that they have limited amount of doctors that they can go to, the client can go to when they're in Medicaid. But when they get signed with Medicare, now that gate opens up and they have a lot more doctors that they can choose from. So that is one of the primary benefits of being in Medicare and having Medicare and Medicaid together. Is the network opens up for those people who now have a choice of really a lot of choices of who they can go to.
Yeah, so they can get better care.
Exactly.
So I just want to speak to that for a minute. For those of you that are listening out there, there is an increasing trend of disability reviews, and it's in your award letter. When you look at it, it'll say that you're going to be reviewed on a periodic basis. This situation was for an individual that was 37, approved for disability, and was actually is going through a disability review right now. So he's extremely conscious about doing everything possible to be treated, as everybody should, so that you can prove that you still qualify for benefits. But the last two notables on this particular plan is health food cards. $25 for food and beverage at participating retailers. I thought that was pretty cool. And then what was really attractive about this plan was $240 allowance every 3 months for OTC purchases. So Daphne, could you explain to the audience what OTC purchases are?
Okay. Yes, OTC purchases are over-the-counter purchases, and it depends on your plan, but some plans are very, very rich in what they give clients to spend. Um, Normally, they will send you a catalog, and you go through that catalog and you can put your order in online. Now, some plans have it to where you can go into stores like CVS or Walgreens and be able to pick up over-the-counter items, and they will send you out a debit card, and you can use that debit card
Mm-hmm.
to yeah, to purchase your items. But
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the best I think one of the best items that you can get with these plans, besides that big network of doctors and specialists, is that you get this over-the-counter benefit, and travel and transportation is another
All
good
right. Yep.
benefit. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So with these credits, they can purchase normal household goods, common household goods,
Yes.
Band-Aids, toothpaste. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. So one other plan that I wanted to show the audience here is this one is a called a C-SNP. This is for a condition specific.
Right.
And you'll see these in certain markets. Now, this particular one, this special needs plan, is for chronic heart failure and diabetes. If you have those conditions and you're in the state of Texas, um,
Mm-hmm.
so what some of the advantages for individuals? Let's take diabetes, which is common. What are some of the advantages that they would see, Daphne, in a plan like this versus a traditional uh, Medicare plan?
Well, with the diabetes one, is that you have such a model of care, and that's the main thing that all the plans have. They have to have a model of care where they have specialists that the individual gets with the plan. Individual makes sure that that person that has diabetes gets the proper medications and gets the proper items such as needles and um, whatever else that they would need to be able to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the model of care is it's really based on the state. There is a model of care where a person has diabetes, but the person is also given a benefit to go and get their nails done with a specialist, because people who have diabetes have to be very careful of their feet, and so they can go get pedicures and their fingernails done through the plan. So they just make sure that person who has diabetes or is very well taken care of by giving them the best care that they possibly can with the doctors and specialists. And
Interesting.
they make sure, and they make sure that that person is getting that care by even going to pick up the people and taking them to the doctors that they
Okay.
need to go to. Mm-hmm.
Right. So a traditional Medicare Advantage plan is not going to have a benefit that would allow somebody to have their nails done.
No. Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Well, I learned something today. Absolutely, that's great. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the other conditions that you may see a special needs plan for, other than heart failure and diabetes? You know of any?
There is there's one for strokes. The person that has suffered with strokes, um, and there's ones where people have gastric problems,
Mm-hmm.
so they get taken care of. So I'm trying to think of, because those are the main two, which is the heart condition and
Mm-hmm.
the diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've seen some where people have, there's the one that's just special for people who have kidney problems.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Great. Great. So are these, like, if somebody goes out to Medicare.gov, are these glaringly apparent to find, or do you have to do some digging, or?
No, well, what you want to do, and when you go there and you put the control F in there and put special needs, and then the special needs area, it'll pull you into that area and give
Okay.
you a lot of information, which is what I did when I started to review the information. I went in and I found a lot of, like
Yeah.
the, if you want to know the history of the special needs programs, right? And
Hmm.
it goes individually by the specialized, the institutionalized, the chronic, and the dual eligible, and gives you a lot of information that you
Okay.
wouldn't find just anywhere else.
Okay. Great. And of course, if you're listening and would like assistance, there's you can just look for directions around this interview. I'm not sure where it's going to be posted or where you're listening or watching it, but just click on the button and we can contact you or have somebody contact you and go through it. So this service is of no charge for you, as somebody looking for a plan or a special needs plan. So keep that in mind. Well, okay, so this has been excellent information. I just want to do a quick recap. If somebody is on Medicaid and becomes dual eligible, there's extra benefits that they have access to in these plans. It will not disrupt their Medicaid. They won't get kicked off it. It will just
No,
be allow them to have access to additional benefits, a more robust, if you will, or diverse Daphne group of doctors, um,
right.
right? So, and really could put some money back in their pocket and looking at some of these benefits. I mean, even just a gym membership, what's that, like $400 or $500 a year? Um, yeah, so
Yeah, that's a very good one, which is the Silver Sneakers programs. And then there's other providers that have their own programs as well. And but they make sure that if you can't go to a gym, then they can send the gym to you, which they will send you items that you can do exercises with. And
really.
that's really good.
So would that be for somebody that is like geographically restricted or because of their condition they're not able to go or both?
It's both.
Okay, okay. Hmm. Wow, that's great. Good. Well, this has been super information. I thank you for sharing this. If you're listening to this and want to find out if you qualify for a plan that is a special needs plan, then just follow the directions below the video and take advantage of that.